Hey guys, it's Neil again from Heart of Texas Armory, and today I wanted to do a video review and overview of this really cool milsurp handgun you see in front of you. So this is a CZ-52 chambered in 7.62 by 25 Tokarev, which is that round right there. These are also commonly known as VZ-52s, but most people in the States call them the CZ-52. That way you don't confuse it with the VZ-52 rifle, which you'll see a picture of that popping up right now to see what that looks like. That way people just don't confuse the two. But these are really cool handguns. They're CNR eligible, so you can have them shipped to your door if you have a CNR license, or you can just use an FFL if you don't have a CNR license. But they're collectible. When these first started coming in the country, you could pick them up for about $100. Now, you're lucky to purchase one under $300, typically between $300 and I would say $600–700, depending on condition and the year that they were produced. So this handgun here was a Czech military handgun that was used during the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. It was designed in the 1950s, the early 1950s, and went into service. They started making them in 1952. And they were produced till 1954, so only 2 to 3 years of production with these. So that's one thing about these is they're not the most common handgun. Around 200,000 of them were produced, so it's not a huge number. It's a decent number, but it's a small enough number that I think it's a good investment still, even at the price that they're going today. Typically, I would say that this would probably going to continue to go up in value over the years. This handgun replaced the CZ-50, which was the standard firearm or handgun in the Czech military before this, and you'll see a picture of that firearm popping up right now too, so you can see what the differences are. And then this, like I mentioned, was used for about 30 years, and it was replaced by the CZ-82. So I have a video review of the CZ-82 already on my channel, and you can follow the link that's popping up now to watch that video review if you want. But these here were used for about 30 years with the military and also with the police. Now, one of the cool things about this is this round. So it's the 7.62 by 25 Tokarev round. Now, if you compare it with a 9mm, you can see the size difference, much longer case and a neck down cartridge too. So this round here is your standard 9mm, and here's your 7.62 by 25. Having that larger case and the neck down bullet, you're looking at around 1,500 feet per second in most cases. So that's really, really fast round. There are some ammos, in fact, some of the Czech military ammo stuff is 1,700–1,800 feet per second, and there's probably stuff that's even hotter than that. So it is a very wicked little round. I mean, it is a laser beam. And there are reports that, a lot of people say that this round can defeat body armor. I would say, give it a good shot. I mean, going that fast with that small little bullet, I think it would definitely penetrate. Now, that's something you want to keep in mind if you're going to use this for home defense. This little round here, going that fast, is going to probably over-penetrate most of the time. So you definitely want to have the right ammo if you're going to use this in home defense or carry it, for self-defense. I would definitely recommend you getting some hollow points, and there are some brands that make them. It's not real common, but you can still get this ammo. Now the price of it's going up. You used to get this for under 10 cents a round, but now you're going to pay close to the same price as 9mm or a little more. But great little round. I just wanted to show you the difference between that and the 9mm, just so you can see the difference. I'll go over some of the specs here. So this is a single action only semi-automatic handgun. So it's not double action, it's only single action. So the hammer has to be cocked back for it to go off. It has a trigger of about 8 to 10 pounds, so fairly heavy trigger, even in single action. I would prefer it to be a little lower, but again, this is a military handgun from the 1950s, and that's kind of standard with most triggers. You'll see the finish here is a gray oxide, so that is the original military finish. You'll also see these in a slightly darker finish, which those, in most of the cases, are going to be Arsenal refinished at some point during storage, or for whatever reason they refinished them. They're in a darker oxide, kind of like a black oxide, but this is the gray oxide that to me it looks better, it fits the handgun, and they're probably a little more collectible too in this original configuration. They come with 8-round magazine, single stack, So this handgun here came with 3 total magazines, so you know that's a decent number of magazines. Your handgun may come with less or more. It just depends on where you get it from. They also come with a really nice leather holster, which I don't have it here for the video, but I'll have a pop-up of a picture of what it looks like. It's a good quality, you know, Soviet-style holster. So you should be seeing that picture right now. They use a heel release on the magazine. So when you have the magazine, of course, in the handgun, you'll see it right there. To release it, you're going to push that little button right there. You see how it does that? And you'll see the magazines do not drop free. They just kind of pop out just a little bit, enough where you can grab it and strip the magazine out. So that's your heel release, magazine release. And that's typical, again, for a lot of European-style handguns from this time period. Another thing I'll mention too, and you'll also be seeing right now popping up the overall dimensions of this. I'll just go ahead and just do them in text versus saying them. So the overall dimensions and weight as well, so you know what these the dimensions and weight are of this handgun. You'll see it has a safety here, a frame-mounted safety that also acts as a decocker. Here is your slide release or slide lock, so you can see when you can lock it back. Now, if a magazine's in there, it's going to automatically push it up, and then to release it, you have to kind of pull down on it, and it'll release. You can get aftermarket replacements for this that have like little nubs on there, so you can actually release it easier. But in the standard configuration, that's how it works. So you'll see that the hammer is cocked now. So here's your safety. So right now it's in safe. If you flip it down, that's going to be for fire. Again, this is safe here, and then if you push it up one more spot, one more click, there's your decocker. You'll see it work. You'll see that it decocks. Now, there are reports of these things, the decocker failing. So I would be very careful if you have a round in the chamber to using that decocker. If you're going to do that, I would probably recommend you to, if you have it on safe and you're going to decock, I'd probably run your thumb in front of it. That way you can kind of just let it down gently. I mean, it's an actual piece of steel that blocks the hammer, but I guess there are reports of that piece breaking or failing and allowing the hammer to go forward and striking the firing pin. So it's just something to keep in mind. I'd just be very careful if you're going to use the decocker. I don't think anything would ever happen, but I would just use your own discretion and caution with that. There are also reports of the firing pins getting deformed or breaking completely during dry firing. So you want to be careful with dry firing this handgun. The firing pin, I mean, the actual construction of this handgun is very high quality, great steel, but for whatever reason, the Czech military decided to skimp on the firing pin, and it's apparently made from an inferior quality of steel. So just be careful when you're dry firing if you have the original firing pin in there. There are aftermarket firing pins you can get to replace this, so that would be definitely a good upgrade to do. And there's also replacement rollers, which I'll talk about the rollers here in a little bit, but it would be worthwhile to replace that firing pin. I'll have a pop-up right now of the brand that has those firing pins for purchase, and that is definitely a good upgrade. Okay, so next up, we're going to talk about the sights on this weapon. So the sights are, they're not the best sights, but they're going to be typical of what you see on most military handguns from this time period. So you can look down the sight picture here. Let me center it here a little better for you guys. There you go. So you can see the front post is actually going to be a very fine post. It's a little small. That's going to let you make precision shots, but it's going to be harder to pick up that. And then the rear here, it's a very small rear sight. You can see the notch, how it looks. Not the best sights in the world, but they're going to be typical of this time period for a military firearm. The rear sight is adjustable, so you can drift adjust that. The front sight is machined in with the slide, so that is non-adjustable. So the sights, they're not the best sights in the world, but they get the job done for the most part. Now, we'll talk about disassembly here. So we'll make sure that the firearm is empty. So magazine is gone, is not in the firearm, and we'll rack the slide back where you can see there's nothing in the chamber. So this is something cool about this handgun. So typically, I'll have the hammer cocked. It just makes it a little easier, but it's going to be just kind of like a Glock, which is really cool because this was designed in the 1950s. So you're going to pull the slide back just a little bit from the frame, and you'll see these two little tabs. So there's one there, one on the other side, and you're going to pull those down. So it's not quite as easy as Glock, but You'll see how it releases right just like that. Very quick and easy compared to most firearms in this time period. So there's your tabs. You can see how that works. So you can see it right there. Really cool and innovative. So a lot of companies copied that design. Glock, Smith & Wesson M&P, and a bunch of other modern handguns. There's your slide lock back and release. So you can see how that operates there. Here's a look inside the trigger. So, you know, we're on fire here, but you can see how that works. So there's the hammer. There, safe, and your decock, which when you bring it up, it decocks it. So that's your frame. The grips on this is going to be a Bakelite style grip, and it's held on by that clip right there. So you just pop that clip off, and you can take the panels off really easy. You can get replacement panels for this. Now, here's your actual slide, and this is what's another unique thing about this firearm is that it uses the roller lock. So similar to like an MG-42 or some other firearms like that, what that does is just going to give you a very, very strong lockup. And I'll have another video showing you guys how to disassemble the slide. I'm not going to do it on this video, but it involves you know, hooking like your magazine or some other tool in here and drawing it that way, and you can get it out fairly easy. And I'll do another video on that. But I did want to mention that this is a roller lock design, and that's another unique characteristic of this firearm. Now, these rollers here are the original rollers, and now the quality of those is actually pretty good quality steel. However, they're not heat treated very much, if at all. So after a number of shots, those rollers can start wearing out. So I would recommend you to possibly have a backup pair of those rollers, or just replace them all together and put the originals in a baggie somewhere so you can have them if you decide to resell the weapon. But again, those rollers are available for purchase, and I'll have that company name popping up right now so you can contact them if you wanted to buy a pair of those rollers. Well worth the upgrade, just like the firing pin. But the quality of the machining is excellent on these. Very high quality slide, good quality steel. The Czech military always made high quality firearms, and this is no exception. The barrel's high quality. I don't know if you can see in there, but has really good rifling. It's a very accurate handgun too. So overall, it's well done. And to put it back on here might be a little difficult here on camera. This is the angle that I'm at, but you just basically line up. You'll see right in here, there's some notches on each side of the slide that coincide with that takedown notch there. So you want to line that up. And then once you kind of find that spot, you just, let's see if we can get it to work. There we go. You just push it back on, it clicks into place. And of course, verify that it does work. Safety. There we go. So we're good to go. So the takedown is actually pretty easy with this. It's well thought out, and it was very innovative at the time. So that's a quick look at this little cool military surplus firearm. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can still get these at reasonable prices. You know, like I mentioned, about $300 to $400. You can pick one of these up. And they continue to go up in price. So, you know, maybe in 5 to 10 years, they might be worth a few $100 more than they are today. So it's a worthwhile investment. They're a lot of fun to shoot. They have quite a bit of recoil, but they definitely are fun to shoot at the range. Again, I would never carry something like this just because of some of the things I talked about with the decocker and just the overall weight of this handgun. But still a very cool and unique handgun that's well worth adding to your collection, particularly if you're into military surplus guns. So once again, this is Neil at Hard Texas Armory. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave any questions or comments down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Y'all guys take care. I'll catch you on the next one.